Hey, I'm Andy and welcome to my channel where I do weekly jazz guitar lessons every Wednesday. Today's video is about harp harmonics, a technique and sound that for me makes the guitar sound celestial, heavenly. It has an amazing sound. It's one of those techniques which is by no means straightforward. But it's not as difficult as it sounds once you get the theory of what's going on. Take it slowly and you'll get this technique down. So I'm going to share with you the technique of harp harmonics, a technique associated with the wonderful Lenny Breau and Ted Greene. Another exponent of this technique is Tommy Emmanuel, who uses it to mesmerizing effects. Check out his version on YouTube of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and I defy you not to be spellbinded by the intro. Little thing to say before you get stuck into harp harmonics, make sure you can do natural harmonics and artificial harmonics. If you're not solid with those techniques, then this is going to be hard. I've structured the lesson like so. Firstly, I'm going to outline the technique, and then I'm going to show you sets of patterns that start on either the E or the A string. So what I call root 6 harp harmonic patterns and root 5 harp harmonic patterns. We get used to those patterns over a simple chord shape. We look at what chord shapes work best for harp harmonics, because some are easier than others. And we'll look at ways that people like, say, Tommy Emmanuel make this technique more interesting by adding other things in, like hammer-ons and pull-offs, or running into a harp harmonic passage. If you easily get frustrated with your guitar practice, then I would say it's safe to say you might get frustrated learning this technique. It's taken me a long time to get it down. I feel very comfortable with it in my practice room. When I'm on stage trying to do it, it is one technique where I'm a little bit more on edge doing it, because if you make a mistake, it's really obvious. So onto the technique. Harp harmonics are where you get a mixture of artificial harmonics and notes played normally. So let's start off and be clear about what an artificial harmonic is. So if we put our finger across fret 5 and then played artificial harmonics, we would play harmonics at fret 17, so 12 frets higher than where my finger is fretted. So I would do this. So that is an artificial harmonic, or 6 in a row. So I'm playing 12 frets higher with an artificial harmonic. An artificial harmonic, I like to use my index finger for the harmonic and then my thumb to pick. Like that. Hard technique alone, that alone, to get consistent. It's easy for one to sound louder. This is a good time to use a compressor so that the volumes of each notes are kept even, because it's easy for one to accidentally hit it too hard, or the harmonic doesn't come out and it can really destroy the effect. So a compressor is a good thing to use when you're doing these things. I haven't got one on now, but it's something you could consider. When you are doing those artificial harmonics, the key to getting them successful to come out is obviously to have good contact down here and good pressure, but also in this hand, in the right hand and in the index finger, to make sure that I use the side of my finger, that it's directly above the fret, not in the fret. If you try and do an artificial harmonic inside the fret, so between the two bits of metal, this is what you get. You don't get anything. So artificial harmonics have to take place with your finger directly above the fret in question, so on top of fret 17. And then it's just about the lightness of touch. You only need to just come into contact with the string to get the harmonic to ring out like a bell. So that's just part of the harp harmonic technique. What we have going on with harp harmonics is we have artificial harmonics followed by normal notes, like that. So what I'm doing here is harmonic, normal note, harmonic, normal note, harmonic, normal note, harmonic, normal note, which creates that harp-like cascading sound. How I like to do it is the index finger plays the harmonic, the thumb plays the harmonic in terms of picking it, and then I like to use my third finger, so my ring finger, to play the other string. So like I'm going harmonic with index finger, third finger to play that note, but I want to play it softer than that. So this is the harmonic, then third finger, harmonic, third finger, harmonic, third finger, harmonic, third finger. There you have it. So the harmonic is played with the index finger, lightly touching, and then I'm using my third finger to play the strings with whatever notes fretted down there, and trying to be light with the third finger when I do that. You could try using your middle finger as well. I've seen some people use both for some of those really nice runs, the middle finger and the third finger, and that really is when you get the sort of amazing runs with it. So I'm going to show you 4 patterns that you can use for a 6-string chord voicing. Now, I will show you some interesting chord voicings later that you can use, but let's just start with using a flat finger across fret 5 to keep things simple in this hand. So pattern 1 goes 6, 3, 5, 2, 4, 2, 3, 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, 4. Can you remember that? Didn't think so. So the numbers that are in brackets are the harmonics. If you look at the musical notation, those are the, well, in the tab they're the red ones, so the red ones are harmonics, and in the musical notation I've written them as diamonds, shapes, and the other notes are just the normal notes which you're playing with your third finger. So the red notes in the tab are harmonics, the other notes are played with the third finger in the right hand. So we get harmonic on the E, play the G string with our third finger, harmonic on the A, play the B string with our third finger, harmonic on the D, play the E string, and so on. So every other note is a harmonic, or a fretted note but played with the third finger. Pattern 2 is, instead of starting with a harmonic, we're going to start with a normal note. So this is going 4, 6, 3, 5, 2, 4, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, 4. And these things you might think, how on earth am I going to remember that? It will. As you practice it and get used to it, the muscle memory will settle in your right hand and you'll get used to these patterns, I promise you. Pattern 3, we're going to use 3 notes this time. We're going to use a harmonic and then 2 normal notes with triplets. So this creates more of the sort of running effect. And it's going to go 6, 4, 3, 5, 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, 6, 4, 3. And then back. So this one sounds like so. Do that slowly. This time with the triplets I am using, so I'm going harmonic with the index finger, then I'm going middle finger, third finger for the 2 normal notes. So pattern 4 is a descending one where we go 3, 3, 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, 4. Sounding like this. So you're going G string, E string. So this time we get the harmonic first. You'll observe as we go through these patterns that the harp sound is created by a harmonic followed by a normal note, or vice versa. And that the separation of the strings also adds to it. Say for instance, this pattern, I'm going G, E, in terms of the strings, I'm going G, E, D, B, A, G, E, D. So there's always a string gap, so you're string skipping if you like, which creates these different timbres, these different tones of notes on different strings, of different thickness, so you get a very mixed sound. So onto the A string or root 5 patterns that we can use for harp harmonics. So the first one we've got to put on the screen here is a 5-3, 4-2, 3-1, 4-2, 5-3. So that pattern would look and sound like this. You can also just start from the top, you know, so start from the G string, going back down, adding hammer-ons. So I just added a hammer-on with a little finger on the E string after playing the string, or a pull-off. Sort of thing. So hammer on, put off. The other pattern I like for the A string, root 5, is as follows. So it goes 3, 5, 2, 4, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 5, 3. That's the patterns I like to use for root E and root A, and I really would just get used to it with a flat finger across the guitar to begin with, just to make your life easier. But what I thought we'd do is take 2 progressions, one using all root E chords and one using all root A chords. Now, what chord shapes work best for harp harmonics? Well, it's ones which are relatively flat across several frets, ones with bars, because if if you've got a chord which say spans 4 frets, that means up here you've really got to move around a lot. So something like that which covered 1 fret would be ideal, but obviously not many chords exist like that. So our first progression, let's do the root E ones first. We're going to go A minor 11, so I'll put these shapes across the screen, to D9/A, to G major 6/9, to E7, which is a 2, 5, 1 secondary dominant of 3. So let's apply pattern 1 to that chord progression, and it would sound like this. And we could obviously apply the other patterns that we've done. Let's take pattern 4, the descending one, with the same chord progression. So I'm going to do it twice on each. I'll do it twice on each chord. As you can hear, that sounds fine, but it doesn't sort of flow very naturally. And when people are doing this, people successfully, I think what they really do is they don't just stick to one pattern, but I'm just doing this for simplicity for now for you guys. But what I would do eventually with it is stick in some runs. So say for instance, if I play E, A, D just with index, middle, ring like that in my right hand, before I do a pattern, you get a little run into it. So like, get the idea. So I'm playing E, A, D, then I do my pattern. Or I could do like G, B, E before I do pattern 4, the descending one. So slowly that would be E, G, B, E, then harmonics. Which sounds quite nice, because then that's when you really get the cascading and the extended effect. The other way we can make it more interesting is by playing a lot of artificial harmonics first or after. So I could go artificial harmonics and then do pattern 4. Obviously doing the same thing on each chord is a little bit boring, but I'm just illustrating the idea there. Pattern 1, then harmonics after. Other things we can do is hammer-ons or pull-offs, but not every shape will allow this. Tommy Emmanuel is fantastic at this, but say that first shape's the A minor 9. If I do the descending pattern 4, I can do, after I play the E string, I can pull off the little finger. So can maybe then add it, stuff like this, where I then hammer it onto the B string. So there's a lot of possibilities there. Just get used to the patterns first, maybe, I would say. So that was our progression that we'd use for the root E ones. You can also do, if you're really adventurous, you know, if it's a flat shape, you know, maybe do some tapping as well if you're feeling like it. To work on some of those root A string 5 patterns, here's the chord progression we're going to use. Put the chords across the screen. D minor 9, tritone substitution for G7, D flat 9, this is a 2, 5, 1 again, C 6, 9, E flat 9, which is a tritone for A7, back to the D minor. So we can do it in a loop. Do that with artificial harmonics first, because that will make your life easier. Then let's take pattern 1. Again, we could put artificial harmonics at the end, so let's do a roll into it. So let's go A, D, G. So that's a little introduction into this guitar technique. Now, as I said at the start, it's by no means easy. It's probably going to frustrate the hell out of you. It did me. It takes a long time to get this down to a point where you can play it with a camera rolling in front of you, or in front of people at a gig, or at a jam session, or whatever. It's perfect for intros, in my opinion. That's where it sort of sits best. You could use it for solos, but it had to be in a very low down ballad, quiet sort of setting. Obviously, check out the people, the real great exponents of it. You know, like I said, Tommy Emmanuel, Lenny Breau, and Ted Greene. Oh God, he was great at them. And get used to these patterns. Even if you get really bored, just stick with that sort of one finger across there, and so that because this hand's going to be the problem really. When it does come to applying a chord progression to it, you know, I know it makes common sense, but make sure that you can do this like those two progressions I had there. Make sure you can do them without thought. If you're having to think about this hand, then this hand's going to be even harder. So make sure this hand is secure. Make sure your artificial harmonic technique is also secure. And then you can be really creative with it, like doing the rolls, so like playing EAD with this hand and then going into a pattern. Pull-offs, hammer-ons, artificial harmonic runs at the start or at the end. That's when it really starts to sound cool. Anyway, thank you for checking out this technique video, and if there's any other guitar techniques that you'd like me to cover in future lessons, then definitely leave a comment below and I'll do my best to cover it. Join me every Wednesday for jazz guitar lessons, and I hope to see you guys again soon.